Okay? You have a design project in future when you are professional and you are working for a client, and if you do not know the background of a thing that he wants you to do, then how will you do that? Okay? So the background information about a thing, the context where something exists, right, is very much important. If you are, let's talk about architecture. Let's even talk about furniture, a very small thing like furniture. If your client, if the furniture is to be made for a church, a cathedral, the design of that furniture is going to be different. And if that furniture is going to be required for a temple, then the design of that furniture is going to be different. And if that furniture is going to be required for a corporate office, the design of the furniture is going to be different, right? So understanding even the religious context of a religious building or the corporate context of a corporate building, right, is important. And therefore, a little introduction, 30 minutes I have kept for it, 30-minute introduction for Buddhism is necessary. Why the Buddhists did it? Each design, each motif, everything that is there has a religious meaning. If you do not know the meaning, you cannot understand why they did it. Why a mosque does not have an image. Okay? Why in a cathedral you have only Mother Mary and not the Jesus? For that you have to have some knowledge of Christianity. Alright? And Michelangelo is not simply about line and color and anatomy and muscles. Okay? And perspectives. If you do not know even a little bit of Bible, then you cannot understand what Michelangelo did. So that background of the subject matter is very much necessary to appreciate what was produced or did by that artist or designer. Alright? So for that I will give you an elementary introduction about Buddhism. And then you have this something called political and cultural background, which can become very boring. I mean, it has always been boring. It's very, very boring. Very boring, you know, all the history subjects. I am not a historian, frankly speaking, but it's boring, but you have to do it. Sometimes, because political conditions is like the fourth dimension. You know? The 3 dimensions, you know, the professor must have told you. Length, width and depth of anything that we have around us. And Einstein told us, okay, that there is a 4th dimension, that is time. This camera exists in time. This camera did not exist 10 years back. Cameras existed, but not this brand. It has a particular kind of microprocessor. It has a particular kind of CMOS. It has a particular kind of digital technology that was not invented, patented 10 years before. And therefore, and probably it will not be there 20 years from now. So if an archaeologist finds this camera 5,000 years from now, you know, that archaeologist will have to go into the history of technology. Forget technology. I mean, design itself has a history. This design, these lines, these shapes of a camera did not exist 20 years before. Even Google, just go to Google Images and history of camera. You know, just click all, look at all the photos. When we were students, we had Pentax. You know, that Pentax K1000, it was called. The design was very much different. Now you cannot have that design today. I mean, the design of car changes. You know more about design than I do. So, design, I mean, there was a great scholar called Stella Cranrich. I do not know whether you have heard about her, but maybe your library has it. If your library does not have it, please ask your professor to buy that book. Buy Stalactite Ambush into your library. Because she came up with a theory of time-bound and timeless art. She did not use the word design, but I think design and art words are sometimes interchangeable. You know, there's some kind of designs that are time-bound in the sense that 5 year, 10 year, that design exists. After that, it becomes outdated or out-styled, old style. You don't want it, nobody wants it. All right? So that is time-bound. And then there are something called timeless. History of art and architecture tells us that the whole history of art and architecture, whether it is Chinese or contemporary Western art or Indian art, you know, or temple architecture or whatever all it is, they're all time-bound because in every century the design and style changes. It is true also about furniture design. It's true about fashion design, you know, I like that. It's true about architecture also. Changes, you know, with time this design changes, understanding changes. But look at folk art, for example. The Warli painting, the Madhubani painting, African Aboriginal art in Papua New Guinea, you know, or the American, Red Indian American primitive art. It is antithesis of change, and you don't want it to be changed. In fact, if it changes, you will cry. And this distinction between, so that is timeless. I mean, you go to Google and do some research, you will find that terracotta, you know, the sculptures made of clay have been found from Harappa excavation, Indus Valley, that is 5000 BC. And then in the Maurya period, which is 300 BC, with a gap of 4000 years. And then again in the Gupta period, that is 5th century AD, and then